everybody. Welcome to Fast Money Football. I'm your host, Albert Vartanian. I'm joined by my sidekick today, Sara Poraria. Lots to talk about, but let's start off the show, Sara, with some good news. Christian Eriksen, he's been called up by Denmark for the first time since suffering, remember, that cardiac arrest at Euro 2020. So he's back in the team. They play Holland on March 26th and Serbia 3 days later. Both are friendlies, and that friendly actually against Serbia will be Eriksen's first return to the Parken, where it happened in Denmark. So this is fantastic news. We saw him at the weekend with Brentford. He's playing extremely well. That beautiful left-footed assist for them to beat Burnley. That was the first goal that really ended Burnley's hopes in that game. So just overall good news, Sara, to start the day.
Yeah, I feel like, no matter what kind of football fan you are, this is just, it makes you feel so good inside, because there was a point where I think most of us thought that that was the end for him. You rarely see players, especially when we're talking about heart issues. He suffered a cardiac arrest, and now he's coming back. He's playing football for Brentford, and now he's getting called up to his national team. Like, it's lovely. Like, it is so wonderful to hear.
Yeah, I catch myself tuning into Brentford games all the time now, watching him play. I think back-to-back 90-minute games. And he hasn't really lost a step, to be completely honest. He's not a 100% sharp, but you saw what he did with that cross on that goal, that he still has that quality. He picks up passes. He finds space. He's covering a lot of ground, getting into challenges, getting into tackles. So he's back to what he's been doing. And I think the more that he plays, the better he's going to get. And I think moving into next season, he's probably going to get a big move somewhere else. And I'm happy for him. Everyone should be happy for him. Eriksen back in the Danish team. Sticking with the Premier League. Chelsea. I mean, it's just been nonstop news around Chelsea. The sanctions, the sponsorship, Roman Abramovich. Now Chelsea, they've asked for their FA Cup quarterfinal against Middlesbrough to be played behind closed doors for matters of sporting integrity. Essentially, because of the sanctions against the club and against Roman Abramovich, away fans cannot buy tickets to the game. So this is why they want to have this behind closed doors. What do you think about this?
It's tricky, because I feel for the Middlesbrough fans who've also, like, this team has done, amazing things throughout this FA Cup tournament, and they deserve to have their fans there, and they're also at home. That being said, I actually do feel a lot for Chelsea right now. In no way do I support Chelsea as a club, but I think, especially when I think of the team, when I think of the coaching staff, when I think of the fans, everything that they're going through right now is really unfair. It has nothing to do with these people. And so I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think it's then fair to put it on Middlesbrough to say, well, you guys can't have fans either because we're going through it. It's a tricky situation. It's awful. It's honestly really unfair, but I don't think that they have the right to kind of, put their problems on another team and then, penalize another team who's been doing really well, and they deserve to have their fans.
Well, another way to look at this, too, is Chelsea will be taking away the advantage from Middlesbrough. A team like Middlesbrough in the championship taking on a Premier League side in a quarterfinal of a cup match, especially the FA Cup, the fans play play a huge part in the game, and they make a huge difference. As we saw with Middlesbrough at home to Spurs at the Riverside, that the fan base was behind them the whole time, which pushed them on to find the winner eventually in that game. I'm not saying Middlesbrough need the fans to win the game, but it's huge. It's big for them. So this is a big no for me in terms of playing behind closed doors. I understand what Chelsea want, but I think if you go a little bit deeper, they're trying to take that advantage away from Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. I feel for the fans. I feel for the longtime supporters. But man, it is what it is. You got to move on. You got to play. If they're going to miss out on a few thousand away supporters, then so be it. They still have a very good team, and they should be able to go there and hopefully for them win that game. But big no for me. Let's continue. The title race. It's on in the Premier League. 4 points splits between Manchester City and Liverpool. City on 70 points, Liverpool on 66. Yesterday, Man City went to Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. 0-0 was the final score. Palace could have had a couple. They could have had a winner at the end of the game there with Conor Gallagher. I thought Palace, they were fantastic. They really made it difficult for Manchester City, obviously finishing the game 0-0. But a lot of questions coming out of this. One big one for me was no substitutions from Pep Guardiola to find a goal. He had Gabriel Jesus on the bench and Raheem Sterling, 2 goal scorers. I mean, and Jesus is pretty much the only out-and-out striker that they have. I thought maybe if you were to bring one in, they could have found that goal. City had chances throughout the whole game, but I was just surprised that he decided not to bring those players on.
Yeah, I think we could have definitely seen Sterling, if anyone, come in, because he's such a goal machine that, they probably could have used him. But at the same time, It's good that Crystal Palace held them, and if anything, we should give the man of the match to Vicente Guaita because he was saving goals left, right, and center. But City outplayed them still. City were absolutely unlucky yesterday. They had Stones, Cancelo, Kevin De Bruyne. Like, they were doing the most, and this goalie was like, not today. Like, it happens. But for me, I still think, I mean, it's great for the Premier League because the title race is on, and it is very exciting. But I still think City had a way better game than Palace. They dominated. So I think maybe Pep was like, one of these must go in at some point. They got unlucky. I really think it comes down to they were just unlucky yesterday.
Yeah, it was just one of those. I mean, after I saw first couple of chances missed, especially I think there was a sitter by Bernardo Silva. I think he missed 2 of them. I'm like, it's just one of those. It's not their day. It just was not their day. But you're right. There's so many chances. If that same game gets played 10 times over, City probably wins it 9 times out of 10. That's how well City played. But the title race is on, which is great for neutrals, obviously great for Liverpool fans. Not so great for City because, I mean, at one point they had 15 points or 14 points on Liverpool, and now it's down to 4. And how about this? Liverpool could be 2 up on City by the next time that City play, because Liverpool play Arsenal tomorrow, midweek. Tough game, by the way, at the Emirates, because Arsenal playing fantastic at the moment. One of the most informed teams in the Premier League. And that hurts me in the heart to say that as a Spurs fan, but I have to be honest. I have to be biased for you guys. But then they have Watford in the early match in April. I think it's April 2nd on the weekend. And City have Leicester, the late game. So this could change a lot. 2 up going into that matchup. And then City, it's a different type of pressure now. This is really on. This isn't like, oh, Liverpool can potentially get back into the race. No, I think the race it's on.
I think the race is on. And I think for anyone who's a football fan, it's really just exciting, especially if you're not a City fan or a Pool fan, you're just here for a good time. But I think, I don't know, it's so close, but we've seen Liverpool bottle it in the past. And there's that, there's that fear, I think, for Liverpool fans where they're like, until we lift that trophy, we are not going to be comfortable. And I think that's the way they have to do it. They have to, every game is do or die. So, I mean, if they keep that up, they have a really good chance. But City is still right now ahead. So let's see how it plays out. It's anyone's game.
Yes, I love it. 2 very good teams and 2 very good teams in Spain starting to come back. The resurgence of Real Madrid and Barcelona. It's actually happening at the moment. And this is your super early El Clasico preview. Real and Barca, 2 of the hottest teams in European football at the moment. Real beating Mallorca at the weekend 3-0. Benzema with another 2 goals coming off the hat-trick against PSG in the Champions League. 5 straight wins. First in La Liga. 10 points up on Sevilla. You look at Barca, they won 4-0 at the weekend. Unbeaten in 10. This El Clasico is March 20th. The odds are already out. We'll get into that. But Sarah, this has to be one of the most anticipated El Clasicos in, I can't even think how long.
Yeah, no, we were talking about this off air, and you were saying since Ronaldo's basically been at Madrid, but it does coincide with when the Clásicos, in my opinion, were competitive, which was 2018. They had the 2-2 draw with Bale, Ronaldo, Messi, and Suarez scoring, and then they had when Barca dominated 5-1. But since then, Real has been such a better team, and the football has been from Barca really poor, which is for the biggest football match in the world. It's upsetting for anyone who's a football fan. Like, you don't want to see, a team just kind of not play, because then it makes the win, it's not as exciting. There's not, that like crazy, rivalry that we have seen with these 2 teams. I like the last game they had in the fall with Alaba and Vázquez scoring, and then Aguero getting that, 97th minute, whatever. It was so poor from Barcelona, and I felt like it just took away from what El Clásico is.
Well, the odds are already out. Real Madrid plus 110 favorites at home. Barcelona plus 230. The draws at plus 250. Barca actually played midweek. They play Galatasaray in the Europa League, while Real Madrid have that week off. Is that going to benefit Real, you think, heading into this fresh, not having to play during the week?
Absolutely, because Barca and Galatasaray also tied 0-0. So we have to go into this game, guns blazing, and we're going to be playing in Turkey. So there's a bit of travel as well. So I think it will, but I think Xavi has kind of, collected these guys together. They're on, a really positive route right now and how they're playing. So yeah, they might be a little bit tired. We might see some subs, but I think they're going to go into both games, wanting to win and fighting for it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, lots going on around the world football, but today we continue with the Champions League, Sarah. Round of 16, second legs are on their way. Ajax, Benfica. Ajax minus 275 at home to Benfica. The draw is plus 425. The first leg ended 2-2 in Lisbon. Ajax gave up the lead twice. So many chances from both sides to end this game. The way I look at this is I see goals, but mostly from one side, and that side being Ajax, but they have some defensive issues themselves. I mean, they needed 2 late goals at the weekend to win their game in the Eredivisie. The scoring hasn't been a problem for them, though. 77 goals in 26 matches in the league, 22 goals in 7 Champions League matches. At home, at that stadium, the Johan Cruyff Arena, I just see a win here for Ajax.
Yeah, I do as well. I know when we spoke about this 2 weeks ago now, I guess, we both said Ajax should beat Benfica, but Benfica held it. And like you said, in the Eredivisie, the last 2 games Ajax have played, they've been up 2 and then let 2 goals, they've conceded 2 goals and then they had to score the winner in like the 90th minute. But like you said, they're capable of scoring goals. So I definitely think, both teams to score is what I've chosen here, but Ajax still to win because they just have this, ability that no matter what, if they're down, they're going to come back and score. Somehow they have so many players that are just up front doing incredible things for that team.
Yeah, 77 goals in 26 matches, 22, like I mentioned, in all 7 Champions League games. If you look at Benfica, their away form is an issue, especially in the Champions League. Just 1 win, and that came against Spartak Moscow early on in the campaign. They lost to Bayern Munich 5-2, 0-0 Barcelona, 0-0 Dynamo Kiev, PSV Eindhoven 0-0 as well. So they have trouble on the road. I'm with you with the both teams to score because I do see goals on both sides. They've scored. Benfica scored in every game since December 30th, which is a fantastic run. Yes, okay, it's in the Portuguese league, not the strongest league. You can say the same thing about the Dutch league, but nonetheless, going forward, they can score. And I just mentioned Ajax defensive issues. So yes, both teams to score. I do like that if you just want to stay away from the overs market. But if you want to tack on a little bit more juice, and that's what I'm doing, both teams to score plus over 2.5 at minus 120. Earlier in the week, you were able to get both teams to score over 2.5 at plus 120. So you can see everyone is leaning towards goals and both teams to score. I also like Ajax, obviously, to win the game, but I'm not going to lay the juice. I'm going to go Ajax to win by at least 2 goals plus 100. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like taking that type of spread in a knockout game like this in the second leg because we're saying all these things, goals, defensive issues, this, that, and the other, but it is a one-off tie. It could be tighter. This one can end up going into extra time.
No, it could. But I mean, I also was thinking if you want to, like you always say, add a little sprinkle, go for Haller to score in this game because this guy is running after Lewandowski for UCL goals. He's only 1 goal behind him. And he's a young kid. He's going to want that. I bet he's going to score today. Who else is going to be?
I like that. Minus 130 for Haller to score. I actually have a couple bonus sprinkles myself, Sarah. Dusan Tadic to score plus 140. Or Steven Berghaus. He seems to be popping in with some goals. I think he's got 3 in the Champions League, plus 210. I like Tadic a lot. By the way, when we mention goal scorers, make sure you see the lineups before you bet. Don't go ahead and bet ahead of time. I mean, when you think of Haller, he's probably going to start. Tadic is probably going to start. Steven Berghaus might not start, so that's why I'm saying always look at the starting 11s before you put your bets in for players to score. I mean, you can always bet on a player to come off the bench, but to be honest, not the smartest thing to do because he can sit the whole game. Anyways, next game, big one. Manchester United plus 115 versus Atletico Madrid plus 265. This one at Old Trafford. The first leg ended 1-1, which was actually a pretty good game. I thought it was going to be dull, but it wasn't. João Felix, how about that goal he scored? And a fantastic ball from Henan Lodi. Alenga came on as a super sub, tied the game. At the end of it, Griezmann hits the crossbar. I think it was the 86th minute to win it. So there was chances for Atleti to win it. I thought they were the better team. I just can't give them the edge in this matchup because I don't trust them. I don't trust United either, but I think United being at home, coming off that big win over Spurs, there's going to be a buzz around Old Trafford, and I think that's really going to play into how we see United play today.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel the same way. I think both teams have been, inconsistent. You can't really trust what they're going to do. Defensive problems on both sides. But if you look at, since the game, like the tie that they had, Atletico have won all 3 of their games. Yeah. United have tied Watford, got pummeled by City, and then did an amazing job to beat the Spurs. So I'm also just like...
Whoa. They didn't do an amazing job to beat Spurs. One man did an amazing job to beat Spurs.
That's all you need, I guess.
Come on, 37 years old. This guy's still scoring hat tricks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like he was, of course, the reason why United won, but he's going to be there today. So you have to take that into consideration. And this guy loves to score in the UCL, and this guy loves to score against Atletico Madrid.
He kills them, eh?
Yeah, you know what? It's really tight for me. I stayed away from the winner in this game too because it's not safe. Nothing is safe right now.
Yeah, I can see this going extra time as well. I mean, but I also see goals. I'm going to go both teams to score minus 109. Both teams to score has actually hit in all but one of Manchester United's Champions League matches. My bonus little bet here is the draw plus 222. But to be honest, I don't think there's enough value there for me, and I want to stay away from that market. So I like goals. But I was looking at Atleti. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on because this isn't Diego Simeone's side. This isn't the defensive side who can shut it down. Maybe they will. Maybe they're turning into that once again to these second leg knockout matches in the Champions League. We'll see some of that. But they've conceded 36 in the league so far with 10 matches to go. That's 11 more than last season's total. And the year before that, they had 26 total. So defensively, big problems. I mean, they keep conceding. And with Ronaldo in form, Jadon Sancho in form, Alenga can score goals. I mean, Bruno Fernandes will probably get back into the mix. There's a threat going forward for Manchester United. So I do see them conceding. But on the back end, with Harry Maguire, it's a big issue for Manchester United. And I think at times they might be left exposed. And we saw, what João Felix can do against them. So I think both teams to score really is a very good bet here.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that. And João Felix has been scoring in almost every game. He kind of woke up, and it's really great because they have him. They have Griezmann and Suarez almost to come in as subs. Like I think we're gonna see both teams scoring. But yeah, it's a matter of defensively who's gonna play better. I know in the first leg we saw the possession was won by United. It was like 33 or something to like 67.
Yeah. Math. You're asking the wrong guy when it comes to math.
No, but I think what Atleti did was almost kind of smart. They let Man U play the game, and apparently Man U only had 5 touches in the box in that first game. So what does that tell you? You know what I mean? Like, it's so, I don't know, it's so hard to figure out what these teams are doing, how they're playing, but I think you're right when you say it's going to be all based on the defense.
And you know what? You mentioned it. United, they don't like playing with the ball. They're a counterattacking team now under Ralf Rangnick. When they scored that first goal against Spurs, it suited them. If they score the first goal in the game, it really suits United because they can just sit back and then hit you on the counter. And that's exactly what they want. And when you have a prolific goal scorer like Ronaldo, you're going to score goals. Back to João Felix. I'm happy for him because this is a guy who, was a big money transfer to Atletico Madrid. Hasn't really panned out, but he's slowly finding his form. 5 goals in 5, plus 393 anytime scorer. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about it. I mean, you could go for him or you could go for Ronaldo. Could be an easier bet. But no, I think we're going to see João Felix on the scoreboard today as well. He's been on fire, and he's going to want to keep proving himself and proving his worth, especially, at Old Trafford. Like, it's a tough place to play. So, yeah.
Well, one thing to keep in mind, I know Diego Simeone has been testing a 3-5-2 formation. So I don't know if that means they're going to be more defensive while playing 5 at the back. They're going to play more counterattacking, which I think that's what's probably going to happen. They're going to give the ball to United. So if that's the case and they can really execute that formation, that game plan, I give the slight edge to Atleti, but I see this going all the way to penalties. I'm not going to bet the draw plus 205 or plus 222. There's no value. So we're both on it. Both teams to score minus 109. I'm going to do it. Little sprinkle on João Felix to score anytime at plus 393. Sarah, in the news and notes, I forgot to get to this one, but this is big news for us Canadian fans. Alfonso Davies back in training since he suffered that. He didn't suffer it, but he had COVID. Mild heart condition in January. Now he's starting to get better. He's back in training for the first time since January. Apparently, he's still several weeks away from coming back. But for Canadian fans, this is great news.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the verge of qualifying here. So I think even without Fonzie, we're going to do it, which is amazing. But of course, you want to have your best player back on the team, training for several months prior to the World Cup. So, we still have some time. We have a weird World Cup this year. It's in November. But I want Fonzie to be there. I want him to be 100%. So, the sooner he gets back in, the sooner I think it'll be better for the Canadian team just to be working with him again and figuring out what they need to do. And also, when that draw comes, how are they going to tackle these teams? He is so important. He's so critical that I was very excited to hear this news.
Yeah, they've done really well without him, and they have another window coming up. Costa Rica, Jamaica, and I believe Panama are the 3 games. We'll be in Costa Rica. Fast Money Football and the Parlay will be in Costa Rica to cover that game. One of the only, I think, networks are actually going to be on the ground. Canadian networks are going to be on the ground covering that matchup. Then we'll be at the Jamaica game, and hopefully they qualify in Costa Rica because, I mean, that will be a party unlike any other. But the real party, I think, will take place against Jamaica in Toronto with all the Canadian fans. Really looking forward to that. But like I mentioned, Davies, great news, but they do well without him as well. So we wish him a speedy recovery. For Sara Poraria, guys, make sure you follow her at Sara Poraria on Twitter. You can follow me at TheRealBirdV. Make sure you head over to parlay.tv for more parlay content. Thanks for watching, guys.